Good evening. Welcome to WCTV, and the show is called Off the Court, starring Coach Kevin Brogioli, Wareham varsity basketball coach. Coach, welcome again to the show.
Good to be back again. Looking forward to another good week.
Yeah. And speaking of weeks, last week we had a good game and a bad game. Well, not so much a bad game, but the opener in North Quincy against the North Quincy Red Raiders, a good team, Division I team. They were in a barn burner the week before, and they got into an incredible game with you guys down the stretch last week. You mentioned that in the press that you thought it was a winnable game, even though the first half was a little sloppy.
Yeah, we didn't open up the game well. I think their quickness, I don't want to say surprised us, but we had to get used to their quickness. They were a fundamentally sound team, so we found ourselves down 10 at halftime.
Yeah.
But to the kids' credit, they ran off 10 straight points to open up the third quarter.
Yeah.
And we actually took a 5-point lead in that third quarter. And then with 15 seconds to go, we were down 1 with the ball. And so you have a chance, and we would have liked to have come away with a victory, but playing that team will make us better in the long run.
Yeah, let's go back to quickly to the first quarter of that game. Like you said, it was a little sloppy. Passes weren't clicking. Cold from the field shots. Even when you got to the free throw line, they weren't going down. It was seemed to be like an 11-point differential against you guys all the way through that first half. But then I think in the second quarter, you mentioned that you started to pick up your defense and put a little pressure on them early. So.
Yeah, we gave up 24 points in the first quarter, and I don't know the last time that's happened to us. So that was disappointing. And we missed 5 or 6 free throws in the first quarter as well.
Yeah.
I knew even though the shots weren't falling in the second quarter, our defense was getting progressively better. And then in the third quarter, we actually scored 20 points and held them, I think, to 5. I wish we could have sustained that into the fourth quarter, though.
Right. And did you tell your kids at halftime that you thought maybe they should pick up the pace a little? Did they seem a little slower than you normally like them running?
I think we didn't press well in the beginning of the game. We didn't have that many fast breaks. And in the third quarter, when we started to pick up the tempo, at least we scored off our defense. We still weren't getting the fast break, though, but that was because of the rebounding, which was also an issue, especially late in that game.
Yeah. We don't mean to make light of the issue, but the coach is going to be working that on practice, I'm sure. The third quarter, big quarter for you guys. Not only did you have a 10-0 run, but you guys held to North Quincy for that entire quarter to only 5 points. I thought it was incredible. And you shut down their big scorer McClendon, who had 9, I think, in the first half. You guys held them to just 2 in the second half. And their center, Butka, I think, had 8 in the first half, or 6, and you held him to 2 in the second half also. Christian and I remarked, too. We thought, Darian was picking up the scoring, too, but Anthony Abbott, we call him the Energizer. I think he came in and just was all over the place, and I think he was a key component in your comeback there.
Well, Anthony's very physical. He's a scrapper, blue-collar worker, makes things happen on the court. He is full of energy. And once he gets the football rust or the rust of not playing for a season off of him, I think he's going to be a big contributor for us this season. In the third quarter, we also shifted to a 1-3-1 zone defense, which I think
helped out.
It did help out. Made a difference. We lost number 5, one of the Gould brothers, a couple of times on the 1-3-1. But overall, I mean, I'm not going to argue with holding North Quincy to 5 points in the quarter.
And I think that kid scored 22 or 24, and a lot of those points came in the second half. He had a big 3-pointer against you guys coming down the stretch, and you sent him to the line 5 times. He sunk all the free throws.
He did. They made all that. They shot very well from the free throw line as a team. After the first quarter, we shot well too from the free throw line, but they were 15 for 17 for the game and hit big shots down the stretch as well.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think of your three position, number 3, your small forward. You started
Chris Siassi.
Chris Siassi. He was kind of snake bitten offensively. He's playing hard and stuff, but if you can get some scoring from him, that's going to help big time too. And
it will, and he'll get more confidence the more he plays. That was his first varsity game. That was several people's first varsity game at North Quincy. So a tough venue against a tough team, and I think the more experience we get, the more comfortable we'll be, and you'll see them scoring in the flow.
And you had LaTroy Harrison come in at that position, or the other forward position when you rotate your big guys.
Correct.
And your son Sammy did he see some action in that game?
Very limited,
very
just
little.
for maybe
Yeah,
10, 20 seconds.
We'll talk about him in the when we discuss the Fairhaven game. But yeah, a tough loss, 61-58, a winnable game. The thing I like to point out to the people that are watching this is that even though it's a non-conference game, this is a great matchup because they're coming back again here on February 18th. And I want everybody to be there and support this team because it's going to be one heck of a basketball game. I know it is. And I can't wait for it, even though we got more games in between, but it's going to be a good one.
It should be.
Yeah.
It'll be a good barometer. They're most likely going to be ranked in the top 20 in Eastern Massachusetts.
Yeah.
And they're a quality team, and we look forward to that second time around with them.
Right. Okay, the second game, Friday night. We went to Fairhaven, played the Blue Devils, and how do you think your team progressed in that one?
I think, once again, the first half was a little sluggish. We always have difficulty playing in that gym traditionally. With whatever team I've had, we've always struggled in that gym. And Fairhaven does a nice job of slowing the tempo of a game down.
Yeah.
They want to slow it down. They play good, hard man-to-man defense. They use up shot clock on offense, and they want to keep the game in the 40s and 50s if they can. I thought in the second half we did a much better job of creating the tempo again. We went to a run and jump kind of man-to-man defense, double teaming wherever we could, realizing they don't have the best outside shooters, so we could take some chances that we might not normally take with other teams. So I thought that run and jump defense was helpful. Thought it was also good when Darian got the 1,000-point monkey off his back, and then he could just play basketball. And so overall, I thought first half a little sluggish, second half I was pleased with.
Yeah, first quarter, they had the lead on you, but you guys climbed into it real quickly. So it kind of looked like you guys were a little cold again in the first quarter, shooting-wise, till you picked up the pace a little and got on the scoreboard. But pressure defense, they're big, they're small, they're forward. Their star, Cameron Charette, he was lighting it up. What did you do to combat him?
Well, he was hitting some open shots. Basically, we know we're going to take a chance when we run and jump and double team people that someone will be open. But you kind of pick your poison, and I thought it was more important that we create tempo. Might give up a few open shots, but we got that tempo where we wanted it. They don't want to go up and down with us, and we don't want to stay half court with them.
Right.
So we'll give up a few open shots if it means creating tempo.
Yes, Danny McLaughlin also had a big game for them. He was another concern offensively for you guys to defend on. He's a good player. I thought you did a great job on Jacob Cavallo, the other kid, the senior guard. He was supposedly one of their people that were going to depend on for scoring. Thought you guys did a nice job on him. You kept him. I think he only scored 4 points.
Yeah, I was happy with our defensive effort on him. He was the one person we were really worried about going in.
Really?
So it was nice to be able to stop.
And the other press was, and even in the stands, the Fairhaven fans were yelling franchise for this kid, Billy Pars. Is that how you pronounce his name?
Yes,
Pars. Yeah, and I think you shut him out. You shut him down, and he was controlling the basketball a lot in that game. They were switching. I think Cavallo, was controlling the ball, quarterbacking for a lot of the first half, and this kid took over, Billy Pires, during the second half of the second quarter, and then into the second half, he was handling the ball mostly. But
easy for you to say.
Yeah, I know. Exactly.
He was. And I think he's more of a defensive player than he is offensive player.
Yeah, all right.
But our defensive effort I was happy with. I think we held him to 37 points for the game.
Yeah, it was 55-37.
So,
right?
I mean, anytime you hold the team under 40 points, that's a good defensive effort.
Yeah, and another thing we forgot to mention here, a milestone occurred. The 9th Wareham varsity basketball player in its history reached the 1,000-point plateau, Darian Fernandez.
I'm very happy for Darian. He works hard. He's a great talent. Now his next sights will be on the all-time male scoring record maybe before the end of the season, and he's got a decent shot at that, I think, too.
Yeah, and I think it was good to read him say that now that that's over with, the 1,000-point plateau, that the other one that's there, he said he's not really concerned about, and that's good because now you can get on with the South Coast Conference games coming up.
Just play, let the game come to you naturally. Don't worry about it, and Darian won't. He'll just get into it, continue to be our top scorer and our top assist leader as well.
Right, and you got to put in the subs towards the end of the game, give them a little work. But I just wanted to talk about your other guard that plays next to Darian.
Mason Vasconcelos?
Yes, Mason. I thought he played well in both games. It's really good to have that luxury when, because, when they're double and triple teaming Darian, it's nice to have him there and knowing that Darian can give that ball to him and he's going to find somebody. And he's a very steady ball handler.
And Mason is very quick. He's very competitive as well. And I don't think you've seen the best from Mason yet. I think he's going to continue to improve. When he starts cutting down his turnovers, and he'll hit that outside shot. He was stroking it in practice last night, which I think bodes well for tomorrow night's game. Once that shot becomes consistent and he's a little more careful with the basketball, he's going to be, it could be an all-star in the league this year.
Yeah, and it'd be nice to know that he's going to come back and run your team next year. He's going to be the quarterback.
It's always good to have a junior that's be back the next year.
There you go, with 2 years under his belt.
Exactly.
So, right. Okay, let's move on to the games we're going to be seeing this week on WCTV. And the first one is going to be the third of 3 road games here early in the season. 3 games on the road before you come home.
Yep.
And we're going to Seekonk. And what can you tell us about the Seekonk Warriors?
Seekonk loves an up-tempo basketball game. They like to run the fast break, which I much prefer a team that wants to run than a team that wants to slow it down. Yeah. They'll also launch from anywhere on the court. They have 2 brothers, the Silver brothers, that have the green light to shoot from anywhere.
Wow.
The older brother, number 2, is a very good basketball player. He can rebound.
Danny's a senior.
He'll go coast to coast with the ball. He's the person we've got to really key on tomorrow night if we want to win that game. But I think you'll see a very entertaining, up and down, fast-paced, probably high-scoring game. Yeah,
Seekonk was 5-12 overall last year, 4-10 in the South Coast Conference. Their coach is Joe Reddington.
Yes.
How long has he been there at the?
Joe's been there for about 5 or 6 years.
So he plays an offensive game similar to yours, right?
He does.
And how defensively, like to press like you guys?
Defensively, he likes to go full court man-to-man. They might have some matchup problems with their size, though, so I wouldn't be surprised if you see them play some 1-3-1 zone against us as well.
Yeah.
Because they don't have a lot of height. So that'll be a contrast tomorrow night.
So the prognosis in the papers from the reports of their game against Sunday against Somerset Berkeley, they lost that one 82-73. I guess the bad news is they lost. The good news is they poured in 73 points. And like I said, it was bombs away.
It really was. That game was back and forth. We were at the game. Several of the players went to watch it, too.
11 three-pointers, and most of those came from 2 guys. You mentioned sophomore Josh Silva, right? The younger brother of Danny. And another senior by the name of Matt Brazil. 4. Matt Brazil. 4. Incredible.
And they were from 26, 28 feet.
Yeah, I think they mentioned these weren't high school three-pointers. These were NBA three-pointers, right?
It's true.
Yeah, so
you got to stay on them. You can't lose them.
So it should be an entertaining game.
I think it will be.
To say the least. Yeah. So that'll be tomorrow night, and we'll be in Seekonk for that one. Wareham Vikings against the Seekonk Warriors, South Coast matchup, and then finally we're going to be home Friday night in the gym, and hopefully it won't rain.
Hopefully it won't rain so we can be in our high school gym instead of our middle school gym, but there is a slight chance of rain on Friday. I never thought I'd have to look at the weather forecast to predict if we'd be playing a game or not in basketball, but that's the way it is until the roof is fixed.
But Dighton-Rehoboth, here's a team that were in it last year. I think they were, what was their record last year? 13-4, the South Coast Conference, right behind you guys.
Yes.
And their coach, Bill Cuthbertson, does a nice job there.
Bill's an excellent coach. And actually last year in the state tournament, they gave us the hardest game up until the Boston Garden. We beat them by 3 points here at home, and then we had 2 close games with them during the year, and then another close game in the state tournament. And we always, last couple of years especially, we've had real tough battles with Dighton-Rehoboth. And everyone, but the local prognosticators pick Wareham or Dighton to win the league this year. So it's a big early season game in the league.
Yeah, that close game you're talking about, you guys won that one 56-53. They kept you. You're usually a higher scoring team than that. 56 points. They did a good job on you. Their big gun, Ryan Walsh. What can you tell us about that kid?
He's another one that will shoot from anywhere on the court. You cannot, if he's open from 30 feet, he'll shoot from 30 feet. He will. So don't be surprised if you see us go with a little box and one action or a diamond and one on him to try to slow him down and get him tired. But even if we're in straight man-to-man, no one will be leaving him. They'll stay on him, and that's their only responsibility.
Yeah, and there are other two guards, Josh Ferrara and Kino Ballister. They look like they're going to be their go-to guys, too, at the guard position. And their big-time forward is Keith Mickelson. So there's 4 players that are going to be a key cog in.
They do. They've got experience from last year, attorney experience. They know how we play. We know how they play. No surprises. And so I really expect a really hard-fought game, especially. I'm glad it's at home, though. The first one at home will be helpful, I hope.
Yeah, it's nice to have that first season tough one at home rather than be on the road. But you guys have been on the road for 3 games, so
true. So we'll be battle tested anyway. But Dighton's a quality program, and we're going to have our hands full. But it should be a fun game.
And we hope all you people show up to support the Wareham Viking team Friday night, the home opener, Dighton-Rehoboth versus the Wareham Vikings. And once again, Coach, thanks for joining us here at Off the Court. And we'll see you again after the holidays.
Sounds
January 2nd. And Merry Christmas to you and your family.
Same to you.
And you viewers, stay tuned because Wareham basketball in the South Coast Conference is coming right up next here on WCTV.